Munoz, what? Munoz who? We've already moved on from Munoz. Who's Munoz? We're going to talk all about today and what happened and what transpired with Munoz going to Liverpool after being so close to joining Newcastle. We're going to seek through the wreckage and find out what's happening. But better yet and better still, Newcastle have to adapt, as I believe they have. And we're going to talk about where they could move on to next. And who will be that player to take that left wing position and fill Gordon's shoes? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Brilliant from Cher. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Cher
All right, folks. I hope you guys are all doing. Hope you guys are all blessed. Looking forward to tonight's show. As always, going to be talking about the crazy transfers story that we've had over the last 24 hours concerning Mr. Munoz. We are also going to be doing some scouting report, but we're going to have a little different type of scouting report. We're going to have one we typically do, but we're going to have one where you guys are going to tell me what left winger Newcastle should look for, and we'll pick out the most prominent ones from the chat, and we'll go through the process of gathering information. Are they known to the media? Scouting reports, data, wages, everything. So I want to know from you guys what left winger you think Newcastle should go for. It has to be someone that Newcastle are linked with. Because that would give it a little bit more. That'll give us a little bit more stake in the player, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be talking about that in a moment as well. But as always, folks, it's super encouraging to see already the chat line booming with all of you guys already. As always, I want to thank you guys for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for talking to me on the chat, talking to me on the X, lots of talking on the X as well. I really appreciate you guys for that. Really, and also for all your for all those that I know a lot of you repost my stuff on X as well. I want to thank you for that. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe today. Put some comments in the YouTube channel as well. Let's try and break 20 comments today. I know I've got like four. I haven't got 20 people watching. So I'm asking to create something new here, but let's try and get as many likes as we can as possible. But before we get into it, I just want to make sure I say what's good to all the folks here. Always a pleasure to see my man Wobo Jog here. I know I'm doing something right when Wobo Jog comes to the channel with all knowledge and he has in the game as well. Good to see you, sir. Hey, Phil says, and God bless you, sir. Wobo Jog says, I know you guys aren't feeling festive now. Speak for yourself. I'm all good now, but your fan base needs to gain some big picture and perspective. Growth takes time. Do you know what? I am with you 1000%, Robojok, on a number of levels. I'm going to actually be talking about this throughout the show. But I would also say, and maybe because it's banter, I do get a lot of Arsenal fans. Obviously, I mentioned Arsenal fans who've almost forgotten where they come from. In fact, I've got this theory, Robojok, and I want to test it out with you. And maybe and Arkham Razor might say they just don't like he's just not the right manager. When it comes to Eddie Howe, I've got a lot of Arsenal fans. Well, at least not to say a lot of Arsenal fans. A lot of Arsenal fans that I know, especially those that are content creators who think Newcastle should sack Eddie Howe. And I'm wondering sometimes in my mind if they don't want a repeat, whether they consciously or unconsciously want a repeat or the potential that that Mr. Howe is almost like an Arteta, where the longer Newcastle stick with him through the rough times, and eventually when the good times come, like the sustainable good times, they're going to really come. So I want to get your take on that. Let me know what you think, Wobajok. And if there are any other Arsenal fans in here, Wobajok has 5 more minutes, man, and Hussam, the Liverpool fan, will host this stream. Who? 5 more minutes, man, and Hussam, the Liverpool fan, will host the stream. Well, Hussam, what from Don Hussam? I'd love to get him on the show at some point. I'm going to be doing the Liverpool from the rivals lens at some point as well. So if he's up for it, let's do it. Good to see my man James here as always, keeping me honest. God bless you, sir. Good to see you. James says, I know this will never happen, but I would love that Atlanta wonder kid, Charles de Ketelaere. He's a brilliant player. I really like Ketelaere as well. He's got a bit of I'm not saying that he is this player, but he's got a bit of a De Bruyne-esque type of feel about him. I feel like he's already not signed, but is he not on the verge of joining another club? Let me know, guys. But great idea. In fact, I'll check him. I'll look him out. Michael Petit says, "Good to see you, Michael. By the way, God bless you." Says, "Even to you guys." So, guys, please, do let whilst we're talking and whilst we're doing our thing. Please do let me know what left winger or forward who can play left wing you think we should look up today. I'm leaving it all in your capable hands. I do have one that I'm interested in, almost like a review to go back to. So I might do that if I don't get any suggestions from you guys. But let's get into it. Let me make sure you guys can see my screen. Yes, you can. Okay, so we're kind of starting back from today. This is literally 3 hours ago, going backwards. Official announcement from Osasuna that Mr. Viktor Munoz is leaving the club, and obviously he is leaving to join Liverpool. Now, I have to say this. Let me find where's my bookmark? Because I bookmarked the stuff. I've got myself organized. I'm not even sure where to start with this. Do I start right from the beginning? I don't want to start from the beginning because I want to. Let me put on Ben Jacobs' post because it's the most thorough one. Then I'll show Joel Bland, who I really enjoy his work a lot. He has a perspective that I like. Okay, so let me just zoom in a little bit. But before I begin with Mr. Jacobs's fairly thorough, comprehensive take on the situation, I don't know about you guys, yeah, but I haven't even before yesterday. I hadn't because of work, family, and everything. I haven't even now actually. I haven't had a proper sleep for a while. I've been getting like 4 or 5 hours sleep. And yesterday, I was about to get into bed. I was about to get maybe 6, maybe if I really pushed it, 7 hours sleep. And I made the mistake of looking at my phone. I made the mistake of looking at my phone. And then I think I saw Fabrizio Romano announce that Liverpool have triggered Viktor Munoz's release clause, and he's already signed agreed or signed a 6-year deal with them, and he's going to be joining Liverpool. And he wrote, obviously Liverpool hijacked the bid, which they did. Though when people have been saying they think that Fabrizio hates Newcastle, I didn't believe them. I don't think he hates Newcastle, but I do feel like some of his posts I get a sense of I can almost feel his pleasure at writing this when he's writing this stuff when it comes to Newcastle. And instead of going to sleep, I said, "Oh my days!" I'm reading the news. I end up making posts. I end up getting into conversations on X and on WhatsApp and everything else. So I don't know. Let me know how you guys, where you guys were with all of this. But how's it got you guys? In what situation has got you feeling? Because I didn't get to sleep. I had to work this. Then obviously we're going to be talking about this today. And obviously as the day broke down into this morning, the details were slowly coming out. Newcastle fans and opposition fans were saying their thing. Obviously, opposition fans were laughing their heads off because I don't know how many is it now. How many number one rejections, how many hijacks, and how many players uh, have Liverpool now taken from Newcastle. I've lost count. Maybe you guys can let me know, right? So the rival fans are having fun, when banter, which they should do as rival fans. We do the same things to rival fans when they fell, for instance, right? And but I guess maybe I'll mature and grow with this and get used to it a little bit more. But I can't help but feel more disappointment with our own fans when it comes to our club. But we can debate this, right? So before we get into this Ben Jacobs post, because it reveals a lot of the stuff. People, some obviously, when I'm talking to people on WhatsApp, when I'm talking to people on X and everything else, I want to get you guys' take on this. Is some people are blaming Eddie Howe, saying that he's got no pull. Some people are, even though Mr. Nunez had initially agreed personal terms with Newcastle to suggest that he was happy to play for Mr. Eddie Howe. Some people were blaming Andy Howe for not getting the deal over the line, even though Andy Howe is not responsible for getting the deals over the line. He's responsible for IDing the players. It's Mr. Wilson on this occasion who's in charge of getting the deals over the line. Then people are saying Newcastle, not even just people, some journalists, not all journalists, but some of our journalists. Big up to Craig Hope. I think big up Mr. Keith Downey. I'm not going to mention the ones that the journalists that continue to let me down with themselves. But it's not just the journalists, it's also folks and fans who are saying we should have done the deal earlier, should have done it faster. I personally don't think Newcastle could have moved any faster. I think within the space of 10 days, they got the players' agreement. They got Osasuna to agree to the fee. A medical was booked. Everything was ready to go for Monday for the player to have his medical and to become a Newcastle player. He was raring to go. And we're going to read, obviously, we're going to get to the point where we're going to read Mr. Jacobs' post. We saw it from Keith Downey. There was a U-turn from the player himself. So for me, it wasn't Eddie Howe. It's nothing to do with Eddie Howe. The player was happy to play for Eddie Howe. It's nothing to do with Andy Howe because he's not responsible for getting the players over the line. I don't think it's necessarily Mr. Wilson's fault. He got everything done within the time he was supposed to, within a very short space of time. He couldn't, club agreed, player agreed, everything was done, and it was going to be done for a cut price fee. We obviously didn't have to trigger the release clause. And we're not paying the guy, well, Liverpool are really rumored to be paying him 70k. Which is fine. We just can't afford that. So obviously, you get them people get accused of defending and saying everything is perfect. I don't criticize Newcastle and all of that stuff. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I personally don't think it's true. And people are saying it's a repeat of last summer. For me, I feel like this summer is very, very different to last summer. We'll get into that other part. Actually, we'll get to that part. Do you guys think it's a repeat of last summer? Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I'll talk about it at the end of this post from Mr. Ben Jacobs himself. But I'll be keen to get your views. James says, so before we get to Ben Jacobs, James says, Phil, don't know about what your plan is on Tuesday, but I do got a bit of warning. The England World Cup match is on Tuesday. And you know what? I'll probably thank you for reminding me, James. I'll probably change my showtime. And by the way, I thought the England-Croatia game was brilliant. It was great to see England finally playing tournament football. Going for it. Playing like a Premier League team, literally. Going direct. I loved it. I thought Jude Bellingham was supreme. Even Madueke had a great game. Harry Kane did his thing. Elliot Anderson, our very own. I loved it. I loved how England played. Big Joe Jackson, God bless you, sir. He says, by all means, keep Eddie Howe. No one is going to stop you. Enjoy being delusional. Let me know why you think maybe why I'm being delusional. Michael Petit says, I think we should get away. I think we could get away with a young, talented left winger. Paul Harvey Barnes has been forgot about. He had done well this season. Left wing should be Barnes. So yeah, he will definitely continue to start, and I agree with your assessment in terms of it should be a talented young winger. Let's not forget that Harvey Barnes got 22 goal contributions as well. Let me know what left young winger you're thinking about, Michael, if there is one. James says, I don't know, but I wasn't surprised. Excuse me, but I wasn't surprised, to be honest. That happened. Liverpool will do anything to stop us. Yep, couldn't agree more. Ever since the League Cup, geez, Louise, man. Ches, good to see my man Ches here, all the way from South Africa. God bless you, sir. Says, hi, Philip. Hi, all. Listening in the background while working. And I love when people say that because it's like I said, I tend to listen to shows that I enjoy when I'm doing something else. Can't engage in the chat, but I'm enjoying listening as always. Good to know that you're here, James. Good to know you're listening. Always good to have you on, sir. Hopefully you're working. I don't know if you're doing a shift or your work or what it is, but hopefully it goes by quickly and smoothly. All right. And Chess says, James. Oh, he's talking to James there. Okay, cool. That's it. So let's read this, James. Not James. Let's read this Ben Jacobs post because it gives a good. I think it's the one I was looking at anyway. Right. So he says more on Viktor Munoz and Liverpool. Liverpool have triggered Munoz's 40 million euro clause with fee to be paid in 2 installments. Richard Hughes, which is quite a lot actually. Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards worked discreetly for some time in order to pull off the deal. I think it's interesting that Mr. Jacobs put in that part of the part into his post because I think he's addressing some of the. I don't know if he's intentionally doing this, but he is addressing some of the points that fans and others are saying, especially Newcastle fans, saying that either it's kind of come across like Liverpool made up their mind in the last 20. They saw Newcastle moving for Munoz, and like at the last moment they thought, oh, who's Munoz? And they did some scouting and said, oh, he's a really good player, let's take him. It wasn't quite working out like that. And then somehow Newcastle also weren't moving around, weren't moving quickly enough. They were dilly-dallying. And Mr. Jacobs says, no, like this has been going on for what he's saying through this. This has been, Liverpool have been interacting with Mr. Munoz and his agent for quite some time. Which is fair play to them because look what Newcastle are doing with Sandro Tonali, right? Tottenham are thinking they got a deal, and then Newcastle make it very public that Tottenham want to make a deal, and that's triggered Man City, and they've roared their ugly heads, and now they're putting themselves into the market. So it's no like, oh, woe is me, Newcastle. Everybody's doing this to each other. It's part of the whole transfer brinkmanship. It goes on to say Newcastle were in advanced talks, but Liverpool also won the race ahead of interest from Manchester United and Bayer Leverkusen. Now it's funny how rival fans are laughing their heads off. We've been rejected, but no one is going to be talking about. But Man United and Leverkusen were also interested. Does that mean you're rejected too? No. But I think it's the fact that it's Liverpool, it's Newcastle again that's taken over. And almost saying that Man United and Leverkusen will make it look like we're again kind of scared of getting rejected, which I personally don't care. And Real Madrid explored bringing Munoz back, but concerns over playing time made this a non-starter. So Real Madrid also were looking at bringing him back, but the boy wants to play. Munoz was discussed with Andona Iraola in early squad planning conversations around the club to move quickly. I don't know when, I can't remember when Areola joined Liverpool, maybe 3-4 weeks ago. So this didn't happen the last 24 hours, right? This has been going on for some time. This versatility also makes Liverpool feel Rio and Gamoa will start. Oh no, sorry, I missed the line there. The appeal is in Munoz's ability to play left and right wing as well as centre forward, which is exactly the type of players that Mr. Eddie Howe likes. You can see Mr. Howe's blueprint all over the Premier League, but I'm being delusional. This versatility also makes Liverpool feel Rio and Gamoa will start to get opportunities. So they might play Mr. Munoz on the right and Gamoa on the left. Medical done on Wednesday after permission granted by the RFEF, with Liverpool staff flying out to the United States. It was already done on Wednesday. It's incredible. Munoz has agreed a 6-year contract, so it's a very long contract. I wonder what contract Newcastle are offering. Meanwhile, it is likely that Federico Chiesa departs, even though his style is well suited to Iriola's system. Italian is looking for regular minutes. So there's a lot of competition, a lot of minutes at Liverpool, and with the added addition of Mr. Munoz, there's going to be even less. So look, in summary, Liverpool have been working on Munoz for a long time, at least at minimum 3-4 weeks, at least talking to him, minimum. Iriola is the man who sounds like he's the man who drove the whole transfer. It wasn't that, this is something that happened in the last minute. And they've offered him a very lucrative contract. They're in the Champions League. They've only just won the Premier League 2 years ago, and they're a bigger club. It's not that Newcastle were dilly-dallying. In my view, we moved incredibly fast. And this is the point where I'm making about it's not the same as it was last summer. Last summer, we would have been dilly-dallying over fees and everything else. We settled the fee with Osasuna very, 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 very quickly. We settled personal terms with Victor and his agent very, very quickly. None of those things were an issue. None of those things were an issue. All of those things were signed, medical booked. So this whole thing where last summer we were dilly-dallying with Trafford, with Pedro, with all those guys. Remember, the decision-making process, the final approval on transfers has moved from Saudi Arabia to Newcastle United. That's why you keep on hearing about multiple bids Newcastle are making on multiple players. And that's why this whole situation with Viktor Munoz, if anything, and I haven't seen this enough, and really I should have wrote a post about it. If anything, apart from the very last bit that we didn't get the player, this is an example of Newcastle doing and moving very differently to last summer. Securing the transfer fee, securing the players' demands and agents' demands quickly, booking the medical very, very quickly, very, very quickly, and doing it in a way where we're not even triggering the release clause was phenomenal business. It's just that Liverpool were also interested in the guy. And their new coach, a Spaniard, probably called up Mr. Victor Munoz. He wasn't speaking to him in Scouse, he was speaking to him in Spanish. And connected with the boy. And now Mr. Munoz is going to be playing the Champions League with, if not the biggest club in the Premier League. So this is why personally I don't accept the whole situation about Newcastle dilly-dallying. It was the same as it was last summer. We were messing around with fees or wages. Like every reporter is saying this. Not just Newcastle reporters. Ben Jacobs has got no stake in Newcastle. He doesn't give a monkeys about Newcastle. I'm telling you. The Isak situation last year proved Ben Jacobs doesn't care. Like he's gonna do what needs to get paid, right? So he's even saying, listen, Newcastle, everything was secured on Newcastle's part. It's just that Liverpool came in. And that's what's happened. So if anything, from my point of view, this is an example of Newcastle acting and behaving very, very differently compared to last summer. And that's not only that's not the incomings, the outgoings. We dealt with Gordon. We dealt with Gordon super fast. We sold Gordon before 1st of June. Guys, don't forget that. Compared to Isak, who was sold on the last day of the transfer window, Gordon was dealt swiftly. Tonali would have been sold a couple of days ago had it not been for City now getting up and saying, hold on. Who wants him again? Tottenham? No. We've got, we'll take him, right? And we're probably going to get 100 million plus, right? Let's not forget we've already got a goalkeeper in. I get it. He's not the first team goalkeeper, but actually what it signals is, and Newcastle have actually said it, they're going to get another first team goalkeeper. And obviously they're talking to Trafford. So I can imagine our conversations with City, even though the deals would be separately, will be saying, so you want Tonali. How's Trafford doing? Is he, remind me what that fee for Trafford is again? Did you say 45? Did I hear you say 35? Did I hear you say 35? You didn't really mean 45, did you? So for me, we're moving very, very differently. But I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your feelings. I want to hear your views before we move on. But that's my take on it. I'm really keen to get you guys' take on it. Michael says, I wouldn't mind seeing Sang-Soo. Yeah, true. We signed last, and Cordero is worth a punt, to be honest. But we all know how. Yeah, I just don't think. I really like Sue as well. I don't know about Cordero, and I don't think it's. I think it's less about how, and it's about, for me, are we sure that these guys are going to get us? We need a little bit of guarantee from those guys, in my opinion. And because we haven't, maybe Cordero is a little bit ahead of Sue because he's been playing first team football. I haven't checked on how well he's been doing, but we need those guys to show some sort of form for the teams that they're playing for. I mean, if those guys are doing the kind of form that Viktor Munoz is doing at Osasuna, I'll be saying we don't need to get a left winger. We're okay. We've got these guys, right? Adrian says, are Liverpool accepting Real Madrid's buyback clause? Well, from what I've seen in the reports, Adrian, it's not an issue at all. In fact, it's not an issue at all. It wasn't an issue for Newcastle. The whole thing that's been reported in Spain was a nonsense. Not a nonsense, but reports did say that it wasn't that much. It wasn't a big deal. Ooh. James says, I don't know if you saw my message when I said to you about TTR viewers being scared about the summer. I said a Tomb review. I've been scared about the summer, and it's surprising that there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, and I don't understand it. First of all, if it is a Tomb review you're talking about, first of all, bigger them up. I haven't seen that in terms of specifically TTR viewers. I have seen it online, and I think for me, guys, I'm trying to think of the most diplomatic and kind way of putting it. Everyone's going through different emotions, right? Some people can't take the shame, so or they feel shamed by it, so they respond in anger. The anger is usually the emotion that covers more deeper emotions like feelings of shame and embarrassment, which is what a lot of Newcastle fans feel, especially when they're getting bantered by rival fans. And I think that's the part where, for me, that's surprised me a little bit because, like I said, we've been through so much. Why would you let this get to you? But maybe it's a different type of pressure and heat. And you guys told me, because you guys are in the audience, yeah, folks like Adrian, James, Ches. There's a lot of people that I know that don't necessarily always comment all the time. Michael. It's just that the names that I know and folks that I know, and forgive me, guys, if you're in this as well. You guys know, friends, but this is my take, and I want to get you guys' feedback on this. we've been preparing for the transfer window on this channel for 2-3 months, maybe 2-3 months. We've been talking about Newcastle strategy all the way from Ross Wilson, talking about the approval process, talking about reading various lengthy articles, talking about the infrastructure, reading comments and long journals from your Hopkins, your Wilsons, your Eddie Howes, them breaking it down in terms of how that strategy, talking about the why in terms of what they because which is their strategy, what they learned from last season, how they want it to be different from the Isak situation, how they wanted to move the approval process, the transfer approval process from Saudi Arabia to Tyneside, how that would change things. Then we talked about their strategy about lowering the age, buying smart, not over investing in players in the Premier League alone, but also looking into Europe. So, but we also prepared really, really well. And I'm going to show you guys. You know my slides already. When we're talking about the squad as a whole, players that we think are probably going to go or stay. We've got that meter. Low, medium, high. That's been up for the last 3 months. When I show it to you guys already. Some of you guys already know what it is. So I say that to say this. So I feel that we've been preparing for this transfer window. Because we've been preparing for this transfer window, I feel prepared. So I'm not as pressured by it. I don't feel as pressured by it. I don't feel as angst or worried by it. I wonder if you guys. So I guess my feedback from you guys is if you feel the same way. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't feel. I'm not saying that you're not going to feel any apprehensions, any concerns, but I just feel part of the reason why I did it for myself anyway was so I wouldn't feel this pressure and this angst and this scared. And for me, it's worked. So I got over Gordon very, very quickly. I don't think I even had to get over Gordon. And you guys would know from my show. I just wanted the deal to get done quickly and get as much money from it as possible, and we did it. And the cherry on top, he was sold abroad rather than at home. We're ready for Tonali. We know that Tonali was always going to move. We just want to get as much money as possible from Tonali. We know that there's probably going to be a third Newcastle player to go. Is it Tino? Is it Voltemada? It could be Hall, for instance. I really wouldn't like Hall to leave, but I personally feel prepared for it. So I don't know what other channels are doing, or what they've been saying. But me personally, I've been getting prepared for this, so I don't feel that sense of. I just, I don't know. At the risk of, I don't know how it's going to sound like, but I feel like I know what's going on, and I feel like not just us fans in general, but journalists, and maybe there are some content creators who I'm still surprised if they're surprised. I don't know what other people have done, whether it's rival fans or Newcastle channels. I haven't got a clue. I don't know how they've prepared for themselves, but me, I consciously made a big, big effort to prepare ourselves to the point where, guys, I feel so prepared that I'm even looking at other clubs to see if they're well prepared. You guys that have been on this journey, we've already looked at Man United in great depth. We had a fantastic show with Ashmatic covering Tottenham extensively. So Man United, Tottenham, and Aston Villa, right? So I feel so prepared that I'm even looking at other clubs to see if they're prepared. I don't know what everybody else is doing. I'm surprised that I'll be surprised if they haven't been getting themselves prepared like this, in my view, especially after the summer that we've had. So I just felt that I'll be doing you guys a disservice by not doing that, because last summer was insanity. So yeah, sorry. So I hope I answered that question, James. And I want to get you guys feedback from. Do you guys feel what I'm not necessarily? Do you guys feel what I'm feeling? But what's been your feedback about how we've been covering the transfer window, how we've been preparing for it? I'll be really keen to hear, because It will let me know where to improve, or it will let me also know where to keep doing the certain things as well. Sinus is blowing up. Sorry, guys. Adrian says we may be moving differently, Phil. Good evening and God bless you, by the way. You too, sir. But there are different ways to be ineffective. Our next move needs to be an impressive one. A part of me, there's a part, so the part I agree with you on, Adrian, is our next move needs to be an impressive one. Yes, I agree with that. Are there different ways to be ineffective? You have to be specific with me on that one. If we're talking about the Munoz still, I personally don't know how we can have gone any faster in that deal. And even if we had gone faster, i.e., triggered the release clause in the first 24 hours, who's to say that Liverpool wouldn't just jump in anyway? Because to me, it was clear from what Ben Jacobs is saying, the player and the agent have been talking to Liverpool in the background all this time. Like, this is not a surprise to them, right? So yeah, I'd love to hear your specifics on that. Wobblejog says, so the Hussam the Liverpool fan hosting the stream was a joke about you being late. Munez situation again. So the Hussam the Liverpool fan hosting the stream was a joke about you being late, i.e. the Munez situation. I think I get it, but hey, big up to you, Wobblejog. Wobblejog says, any Arsenal fan seriously advising to sack Howe? Probably asked him if they were asking for Arteta's head previously. Yes. Very good point. But you know what they'll say to me, Wobblejog? And I appreciate I haven't finished your whole comment. You know what they'll say to me? But how isn't Arteta though? Has he won the Premier League though? I just know that's what they're going to say. If they're asking for Arteta's head previously before winning the league, my gut feeling is they were even the vocal bunch too. And you know what? This is exactly my thoughts, Wobblejog, and I just know what kind of slapstick response I'm going to get. So are you saying Eddie Howe's going to win the league? Are you saying that Eddie Howe's going to win the league? All right. You didn't think that Arteta was going to win the league. Not you, Wobblejog, but, the imaginary Arsenal fans I'm talking to. James says, probably longer. I think we probably started around even longer. Exactly. So thanks for that, James. Thanks for that, James. We've been doing on this on Toon Tactics TV. We've been looking at strategy, operations, infrastructure, articles on Hopkinson, articles on Ross. So I just don't know. What. I have no idea what any other channel's doing, and I'm not interested either, right? And I'm interested in you guys. I did this for you guys, but for me as well, because I didn't want to feel as though I had the feeling of having to read the craziness that Isaac was writing, open letters and stuff like that. This absolute disrespect in the club that rose him from the gutter, right? You can tell I got over it, right? So I just said, I don't know what anybody else is doing, in my opinion, and I personally hope our owners, the recruitment team, they got their X account switched off, and I keep on seeing people tagging in the owners, like. I just didn't think. I really didn't think this was our club. I didn't think we were like this. I really thought that we were different. I was so wrong. Wobblejog says, also, I don't look at NUFC as a rival like Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, who I remember wanting them to keep Amarim. Fair. LinkedIn guy. Okay. And Frank. So when I say keep Howe, it's probably the right call. I mean, fair enough. I always like your reflective thinking, Wobblejog. Um, James says, I don't think we can go for Kamara now for any reason. It just doesn't make sense because we know Liverpool go for it. We always, do you know what? A little bit later on Kamara, but like, yes, obviously we saw also Liverpool put him in a bid for Yan Diomande, and I was cheering it on because I'm like, please get Yan Diomande because now you got Munoz, now you got Diomande. You don't need any more wingers. Now we can go for a winger. So, um, I just know that Liverpool are more focused on Wharton. So, but who knows? These guys are greedy. Musa Barrow on a free. I don't know who Musa Barrow is. Um, but thanks, Michael. Guys, send me. By the way, send me in. Thanks, George, for that as well. But let me know, guys. What left winger you guys want me to look? Let's look at today because you guys are deciding who we're going to be looking at. Adrian says, "Excuse me, Phil. Isn't manager pool a factor that counts for something?" When pitching at continental players, I'm not trying to make a cheap anti-Howe point, but genuinely, I know you're not making any cheap point, Adrian. In fact, that's not in your character or nature at all. So I wasn't thinking that at all. Yes, manager pool is. Pep Guardiola can make a phone call. Sometimes people players just have to hear just to see Pep Guardiola's name on the phone, and they've already said yes before they've answered the phone, right? So absolutely, manager pool has something to do it. But the personal terms of the player were agreed, which it's not even an indicator. It's a surefire signal to say the boy was ready to play for Eddie Howe. So Eddie Howe and whoever already made the pitch to him and said, "You're playing." He would know who Eddie Howe is, right? We're playing for the guy. This is what we'll do. We're going to this. The pitch was made to him. This is what you're going to be doing. This is da-da-da. You know, this is how you're going to be playing. This is your position. This is your minutes. This is your wage. You are playing for Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe is staying, right? The boy said yes. The boy said yes. And uh, so everything was agreed. The medical was booked. Personal terms agreed. So for me, that's why Eddie Howe isn't a factor in this situation because the boy said yes. The factor that changed everything was Liverpool. That was the factor. Because then I reversed and asked you if Liverpool did not go for Victor Munoz, would he be doing the medical Monday coming up? I don't know if it's Monday coming up or the Monday just gone. Yes, he'll be a Newcastle player. That's the answer. He'll be a Newcastle player. Um, Julian Brandt, is he a left winger? I thought he's a big up. I don't know if you're first time to the channel, but God bless you, George. Is he a left winger, Julian? I always thought he was a centre midfielder. Tim's big up Tim, God bless you. He says, hope you're well, Phil. As Quint says to Brody in Jaws, Chief, put on the fire, put out the fire, put out the fire, will you? I like that. I like that. I like that. Couple more, and we'll start looking at the transfer business, which we've been looking at since January, as pointed out by George James. George says football is a business. We need to trade and buy with our finances. I'm still positive. Let's move on, and that's just big up Gog Singh, and that's just it. That's exactly. I agree with that. James says Spurs need the winger. It as Aston Villa need the winger. We need the winger still. Everybody. I don't know if you're suggesting James we should wait for them as well. I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point. Oh, jeez. Uh, it's, RSL is it RSL? RSL is the second bidding for Diamande. 120 million euros. Is that correct, guys? 120 million euros. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Uh, has it? As I heard it was talked about. I didn't know they was going to do it. Have they put in 120 million euros, guys? Let me know. Oh, where is it? Uh, ooh, ooh, hey. Uh, uh, this is interesting, guys. Let me bookmark this. Tonali, I don't know. Jean Miguel. Nah, okay. It's a very small account. I'm going to respect it, though. I'm going to respect it. I'm not just going to be that guy if you're a small account. But this Jean Miguel gentleman, let me. Yeah. Tonali. So Jean Miguel. I've seen him around. Let me know, guys, if he's legit. What's he got? Okay. Transfer specialist from Portugal. Okay. Exclusive. Sandro Tonali to Tottenham is done. Tottenham have reached an agreement in principle with Newcastle on a deal worth around 85 million plus 10 million and add-ons. Tonali has agreed a 5-year contract. Deal done and signed soon. Let me guys know in the chat if there's anything, if there's anything, any more news on that. We will go back to it. We will revisit this. We will have to absolutely revisit this if this is the case. Let me know what you guys think. We're going to go back to it in a moment. I did see something from the Geordie journals talking about, like, you can't sell Tonali before you buy another player. It's such a bad look. It's a bad look for people who haven't been. It's a bad look for people who are not ready for this transfer window, who haven't been prepared, who've just all it is a wing and a prayer. They haven't been reading the countless articles and journals and about what Newcastle are planning to do and trying to do for this window, what journalists are supposed to do. I feel like I've done more journalist work. Bad look. If Newcastle just became a club that's worried about bad looks, that's going to take them down a dark tunnel. Ask Man United fans what when their club was when their club was all worried about looking good and getting the right player and getting the most expensive player, extravagant player, hype player, rather than getting the right player. Ask Man United fans about that, right? Like it's such a nonsense, man. Anyway, Antonio Nusa, good one. I have to look him up. We were interested in him before. We did a scouting profile on him as well. I think Liverpool wing options next year will be Diamante, Barcola. I think Arsenal looking at Barcola. Munoz, real backup, selling Gakpo and Chiesa. Yeah, serious upgrade. James says, I know we've not been I know we've not been in for him, Antonio Milker, do you mean Nusa? But my main choice would be Barcola, but that's 90 million. Oh, for the left winger, yeah, I wish we can get him. Thanks for sending that through, though, James. Raymond, big up to you, sir. God bless you. He says, Hi, Team Tactics. Philip, how are you? Piff should sell Newcastle United right now. And Stevie should sign for Newcastle United. Stevie should come back. All right, okay. I hear you, man. Let me know who you'd want Newcastle to sign for the left. We're looking at left wing options. We're going to look at midfield in a minute. I'll read a couple more, and then we'll get into this Tonali news. But guys, let me know in the chat if there's been any more reports from a little bit more credible journalists. Has the Tonali deal been done? Yes, it's a fact. The price they want, so I see it getting done. Nico Gonzalez should sign for big up Raymond. Says Nico Gonzalez should sign for Newcastle United right now. I like that. I might look him up if we get a chance. James, there's nothing for Romano about this, so give it a couple of days. Boy, if anyhow I finish the show and I want to go to sleep and this news about Tonali breaks, it's gonna be, jeez Louise. Big up my man Ginger Hoskins. God bless you, sir. He says, Philip, I can't read that. TWL. Ni were the club is going. Where the club is going now, all top players sold. If Tonali goes, Andy Howe can't sign a stamp Can't sign a stamp, let alone a player. Sorry, mate. Fixtures are bad tomorrow. How maybe sacked by November. Uh, if I'm following you right, Ginger, you're saying we're selling all of our top players. We're not getting any players in. This is looking bad. November, it's how it's going to get sacked by November. If Newcastle don't sign any players, I don't know how the owners can sack him for that, right? So that's the owner's fault. I don't think that's going to happen. We're only, when did that window open? We're 3 days into the window. We're already doing big business. Give it time, Ginger. Give it time. Ginger follows up and says, Philip, what you think Newcastle will do and what they actually do is reality, and how club looks is a fact. What you think Newcastle will do and what they actually is a reality. Well, it was opinions, right? So yes, I'm giving my view. I'm asking for your views, but the reality is what has happened, and nothing has happened yet. The reality is, okay, is it a reality we're 3 days into the transfer window? It's a reality. Is it a reality that we've got 2-3 months left of the transfer window? Yes, that's the reality, because we're not in the future. We're literally on the 18th of June. So nobody knows what's going to happen. I'm very confident that we're going to get players in as well as getting players out. And I think we're going to get business done, but that's my opinion. You have your opinion as well, I'm sure. Um, uh, Liverpool still in the mix for Barcola. Says Gog says, I always felt two senior players that want to miss in games was Gordon and Tonali. We've had a good run with certain players, so bringing hungry players back to basics. I agree. Absolutely. We want players that want to be here, right? Okay, a couple more and we'll get into it. Ginger Hoskins says, Philip, I think it's a question, Philip, do you know a club works by selling brands of football with players who are idolized, but fans around the world to sell shirts and convincing new players a place to be right? Question, Philip, do you know a club works by selling a brand of football? Okay, brand of football with players who are idolized. Okay, like for Arsenal on reselling it and to other for that kind of thing, Shearer for Newcastle. Yeah, around the world to sell shirts and convince new players to be right. Yeah, I think clubs do that. RSL says, I think City will get Anderson and Tonali. So do I. Rodri on last year won't sign a new deal. They need a midfield to rebuild. I agree. Register Kev, my man, good to see you. God bless you. Says Register Kev says you gotta give up Hall easily. Wow, you are persistent, Register. You gotta give up Hall easily so you can get extra money to buy players. I don't know if you've seen Register Kev, but we've made more money in player sales than any other club so far in this transfer window. We're about to sell Tonali for nearly 100 million. We've got money, man. We've got money. More money than you. All right. So I'm gonna look at the transfers in the moment. I'm gonna look at the transfers now, but I wanted to just scout around with you guys for a minute to see if there's any more on this Tonali thingamajig. Bombshell from Indikaila. Van der Ven's getting ready to blow up the transfer market this summer. And that Liverpool is his dream destination. Jeez Louise. One day that will be Newcastle, right? So one day we'll have players saying, Newcastle, my dream destination.
Hello, Spurs fans.
This is why I like not Mickey Van der Ven, Paul Van Heck. Man's playing with a black eye. This boy is as hard as nails, man. He's already getting into fights with people. I can't see anything about this Tonali deal. I can't see anything about Tonali, guys. looks like this Mozambique player is hitting all the right notes as well with people. He must have had a good game. I can't see anything on Manzabi, guys. Yeah, not Manzabi, excuse me, Tonali. Okay, so we'll hold out for that. All right, so let's get into our transfer window. Remind me, guys, what left wing options you want to talk about? City will sell Mamouche. You should be all over that. His wages, I think his wages is like 200k, 300k. We can't afford that. We definitely can't afford that. So let me see now. Okay, so let's put this up. So send me your left wing options and let's talk about it. Let me see if you guys can see my screen. Yes, you can. All right, so you guys like the thumbnail, man. Not my first window. Muñoz is gone. We've still got players to look at. Doué, Trafford, Chevalier. Palestra's now gone as well. Lamine Camara, all those guys. Okay. So this is our table. You know, I don't know. We've had it since January, something along those lines, right? I don't know what anybody else is doing, but on this channel, we've been preparing for this transfer window since January. So I had to, if anybody's surprised, unless obviously you're new to the channel, if you're new to the channel, welcome, God bless you, like, share, and subscribe. What you're seeing right now has been here since January. We've been preparing for this window since January. Right, so I've updated a few things on it. Obviously, exits Mr. Gordon, Ruddy, Trippier, and Target, with Tonali now into the highly likely to go. Tonali's probably now in between exit and high. Valicarmos Pope has joined them now as well. Livramento and Willock very much likely to go, in my opinion, as well. So things are moving along in that regard. I have got in the medium, interestingly enough, I've moved Hall into the medium. In fact, this is the first time I put Hall on this board. And that's partly because, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, is Livramento's injured. Surprise, surprise. What that means is nobody's going to buy him, or unlikely, right? I haven't heard of a team buying an injured player. And we know there's already interest in Mr. Hall. So far, the noise has been out of Newcastle is that Newcastle won't accept any more than 70, 80 million, something along those lines. Whether that's true or not is a different story. Whether Hall is going to push for the move or not, we can't predict. But I've put him in the medium until things change a little bit. I've still got and I've kept Voldemort and Wissa in the medium. I would like it to be high, to be honest, but it remains to be seen if anybody's going to buy them. I know that Wissa had a really, really good game against Portugal, but it's been well publicized that Newcastle want to make room for a new striker, proper number 9. So it has to give way. And I don't think it's going to be a Sola. I think they want to keep a Sola. So especially after the form that he's shown. So I put a Sola in the low with Jolinton. Murphy, who I was tempted to put in the medium because of a few rumours coming up, but we'll see. And obviously Bruno, Gillespie who's staying, Shaw who's staying. So let me know what you guys think so far. Do you think there's other players that we should be moving into high, others into low? What's the update? Where is it? Register Kev says, no, I haven't seen. I just need half easily gifted to us. Agents is money, can't buy us love or even Munoz. James says, Phil, if we sell Sandro to Man City, I'm gonna go lift to the field. I'm gonna go get lift to the field here and go, and I'll take with the deal Mamouche, both wings, and the striker. Hear that? I can hear that. I just don't think we can afford those wages from Mamouche. Ginger says, Philip, right now Newcastle look like a club run like a sales market. There is no structure at Newcastle. Letting your head scout leave. Let how run transfers. Again, madness to football IQ. Okay, so we're selling players, yes, but we've also bought a goalkeeper, and we've tried very, very hard to buy Munoz. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But selling players early is not something that we did last season, so we've improved. Letting your head scout leave. We're not letting him leave. He's still our Steve Nixon is still our head scout, and he's still part of Newcastle. Letting How Junior run the transfer market. How Junior doesn't run the transfer market. He helps to ID players. Ross Wilson runs the transfer market. So, a couple things that needed to be changed there. Raymond says, "Hi, Toon Tactics, Philip. How are you? Newcastle United should get Mamouche." I agree. Well, no, it would be nice, but I just don't think we can afford him. RSL says Van der Ven, Camara, Wharton, Barcola, Diamande, Munoz. Such a window. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, RSL. Jog says, Phil, my honest opinion about your fan base reaction is after takeover, an unfair expectations of quick linear rise to the top, competing for trophies because the owners are the richest in the Europe. I don't know. When you say fan base, do you mean everybody? I don't personally believe every fan expected that. I think a lot of fans were just relieved to have Mike Ashley gone, relieved to have owners who they believed cared, which I believe they do. And you're not trying to do this, but I've had I've had a few, especially rival fans, taking our joy as us believing we're going to buy Mbappe's, we're going to be the best in the world. We're just happy to get rid of Mike Ashley. We have been under the crushing feet of Mike Ashley for 14 years. Now, I know Arsenal have had a bad time. I know Man United have had a bad time, but you haven't had Mike Ashley. You guys will never know what 2 relegations in 10 years means. Fighting relegation for what most of those 14 years under Mike Ashley means. You guys will never know what it's like to have that kind of brutality. How we've gone from the 6th highest revenue in the Premier League to a revenue lower than Leicester City's. That is insanity. So when Ashley left, we had our players doing hydration pools in wheelie bins. That's not even a lie. Every Newcastle fan here will tell you this, World Jog. I don't think that anybody would expect us to take over the world when Mike Ashley came. Excuse me, when PIF came. Were there fans that were being ambitious? Yeah. Why not? Why can fans not dream? I don't understand this. Like, why can't we dream for the best? Why is it only the Premier League, the big trophies, are reserved for all the legacy clubs, for all the big clubs? Why can't we dream of that? Why can't we say we're going to compete and then we can win the league? And this isn't specifically at you, Jog, but I don't have an issue with it. So Philip, I made sure Spurs Camara to Liverpool, Doué to Chelsea, Palesha to Inter, and we can't afford Chevalier wages. We can afford Chevalier wages. Sayed El Mala, we'll see where he ends up. It's up to him. Camara to Liverpool, possibly. Doué to Chelsea, possibly. To all those things. Hopefully not, possibly. And we'll have backup plans to those things as well. Is Sonali being linked to the 2 Prem clubs with Italian managers? Just lazy journalism at its finest. No, but he's if there's been really, really, really strong links to City for a while, to Arsenal as well, actually. There's a lot of clubs that are in for him. Yeah, I hear you, Ray. You really want PIF to sell. I personally disagree with you on that one. Magnus Ekliush, good call there. We'll check him up in a moment, James. Ekliush is linked to PSG. He is. RSL says that's unfair. Rice thing is wrong, in my opinion. It's owner's fault for the best club by 2030 comment. But I don't know why they can't make those comments. Is it a British thing to like just be like this, have this false modest thing? Because I feel like in other cultures, whether it's in America and others, it's important to say what your ambitions are. I just don't understand this thing. You know, oh, we're unsuccessful now because you said we're going to compete for the league. So if I say I want us to be successful in literally 4 or 5 years' time, actually when they took over, it was about this will make it 10 years. It's wrong for them to say we want to win it all, we want to compete. Come on, man. Like what are we here for? To scrape by? Pete Axe Shield says we need to sign Nusa and Kamara very quickly. I agree. For the money we got from the Gordon sale, this would save face, in my opinion. If we do not move within the next few days, we are not worth supporting. We're always worth supporting, depending on what and regardless of what the transfer window is. So I disagree with you on the last sentence there, Pete, but I do agree with a lot of what you said. Morbojok says, excuse me. No, I mean the ones I saw on social media, which I know isn't a real place, but I meant in the sense that I didn't expect bumps on the road and pains of trying to get to the top, which is completely fair. Yeah, but I suppose there's people like that. But what makes you say they didn't expect bumps on the road? I think there might be people like that. I just think when if you're talking about the original period of the takeover, I know, and just speaking from you, you would have seen us celebrating at St. James's Park. The lift of not having Mike Ashley there was unbelievable. I'm not gonna kind of come down too hard on fans who were dreaming big at that time. I'm not gonna come down hard on them in terms of that. I do get annoyed. I'm more annoyed at the fans now who don't expect bumps on the road. Already saying PIF out or saying crazy stuff about we're back to the Steve Bruce days. Really? We were seeing Champions League qualification in Steve Bruce days. We were seeing multiple domestic cup finals and semi-finals in Steve Bruce days. We were seeing trophies in Steve Bruce days, and strikers, the likes of Isak and Gordon, and midfield of Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton. We were seeing that in Steve Bruce days. You guys are insane. I don't know how you've forgotten the Mike Ashley days that quickly. Because for me, it's like in living memory. Like I'm getting PTSD just thinking about it now. I just don't get it. I don't get it how already this comparison to Steve Bruce days. You've got to be insane. You've got to be mad to be thinking like that. Honestly, I'm sorry, and I don't mean anything bad about it, but I just can't believe it. I can't believe anybody thinks that we're back to Steve Bruce days. No, we can't. 200K for who again? Let me know. Ginger Hoskins. How out Christmas Andy Howler couldn't get over the line. The novice Nepo baby. Get what over the line? He's not here to get any player over the line. He's here to identify players. He's not the negotiator. Ross Wilson is. And Ross Wilson secured the transfer fee and player agreement and an agent agreement and a medical booked. Rejected Andy Howe. No, he rejected Newcastle to go to Liverpool. Eddie Howe, the plan is probably Chevalier for 55 million. No, the plan was Munoz. It's last summer all over again. No, it's not. Totally wrong. We sold Gordon before the 1st of June. Whereas we sold Isak on the last day of the transfer window. We're about to sell Tonali, so our sales are going quickly. We're moving very, very fast on players and making multiple bids. It's a totally different summer. Anybody telling you that how our crew, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to do to help you in regards to that. RSL says if race expectations wasn't needed, should have just worked quietly, improved year on year behind the scenes, have those goals, but no need to tell masses. I don't think they're telling anybody. Newcastle didn't tell anybody about Munoz. The Spanish outlets started telling everybody about Munoz, and then Newcastle had to control the narrative on their end. We can't. How many Italian outlets, Spanish outlets are all saying Newcastle? The reason why we know about Arthur, the Italians have told us about it. Munoz, the Spanish have told us about it. Camara, the French can't stop talking about Camara. Le Quip can't stop talking about Camara. Right? Newcastle can't control that. Ginger Hoskins, you're forgetting I still work for Arsenal. I didn't leave my job. I've worked in football since 1999. I didn't know that, so I can't forget. From you system data analyst to match data now, I'm sorry. I know football right now. We are a mess. Respect to your profession, Ginger, whatever you're doing. I just don't. If you know football, then and I hear what you're saying. You're saying so much inaccurate information about what Newcastle are doing. I just correcting what's fact really. Pete Axield says my point was lost out on our number one Gordon replacement, who we could have signed weeks ago for half the Gordon money. Surely we deserve much better. My point was we lost our number one Gordon replacement, who we could have signed weeks ago for half the Gordon money. Surely we deserve much better. But we agreed Munoz's transfer fee and his personal terms within like 10 days. I don't know how much faster we could have moved on it. And who's to say we trigger the release clause and Liverpool don't get involved anyway? Because Munoz and his agent were talking to Liverpool for ages. I think you missed it, Pete Axield. But Ben Jacobs and others have reported that Munoz and his agent have been talking quietly and discreetly to Liverpool for weeks. So the only thing that prevented Newcastle from getting Munoz is Liverpool. It's nothing to do with Newcastle dilly-dallying or the player rejected Andy Howe or Eddie Howe or whatever other Howe. It's all to do with Liverpool. RSL says, no, not Munoz. The 2030 comment from the owner. 2030 comment from the owner. But again, I think the owners should give ambitious statements and work towards it because they're asking you to hold them account to it. So that's why every window, every season, I'll be saying, you guys said we're going to compete. In fact, you first said we're going to be spoken about as the best club, one of the best clubs in the world. You've changed that. Now you're saying we're going to compete. That's something to give them to be held accountable to. Newcastle should sign Camara and Antonio Nusa. Absolutely, I agree with you. Raymond Gogson says, why don't we tap in the Saudi League, Philip? I don't think they've got the level of players that we're looking for. A couple more, and then we'll get a little bit more into it. Ginger Hoskins says, sorry, you have no facts about Newcastle at all. Liverpool uses release clause. Yeah, this is my problem. Non-football people talking crap. Newcastle didn't use the release clause. That's on Newcastle fact. Nobody said that Newcastle used the release clause. But did you know, Ginger Hoskins, that Osasuna accepted the transfer fee that Newcastle gave? So whether the release clause was triggered or not is irrelevant. Osasuna agreed the transfer fee with Newcastle United. Viktor Munoz agreed personal terms. Medical was booked. This is without the release clause. It didn't matter. That is the facts, Ginger Hoskins. Literally, that if you got a problem with those facts, talk to Ben Jacobs, talk to Keith Downey, talk to Fabrizio Romano, talk to all those guys and correct them on it. Robojog says, of course, as a fan, we have to dream. Otherwise, we should just support Madrid. And maybe I'm wrong, Phil. I feel a sense of mismatch between reality of where the club is and the fans' perception of it. But that's what dreams are. They're literally in their very root, in their very essence. They're different. There's a mismatch between reality and perception. Because if you just focus on reality, on where you are right now, you're never going to see yourself. You're never going to really rise to where you want to be. If you're 20 stone now, but you want to be 15 stone, if all you see is your reality as 20 stone, it's going to, and you don't have a vision, you don't have a dream about being 15 stone, losing weight, then you're going to remain being 20 stone. So you got to have a dream. You got to not just see a reality. You got to have a vision. You got to have a dream about where you want to be. I think it's just inbuilt. How Out Crew says we made early moves last summer for João Pedro. We did, and Buemo, and they rejected the novice Nepo baby step in. Well, we did that. We didn't have a sporting director. Remember that one? He left us 24 hours before the transfer window opened, and we had to. Eddie Howe was called back from his holiday with his family. They had to get a crew together to try and do the transfer window, and that ended up being absolutely bad. The approval process for the transfers was in Saudi, so even when Andy Howe and and Steve Nixon had the deals lined up, they had to wait days, weeks to get the approvals to get approval for those transfer windows. To get approval for those transfers, by the time they got that, it was too late, and the players went. So nothing to do about being a Nepo baby. Sporting director and Andy Howe and lack of pool name manager Eddie Howe. No. So nothing to do with that How Out Crew, in my opinion. Robojog says also how quick Liverpool moved for Munoz 1,000% means they were always at the table, but asked the agent to not make it public. Yeah. I just don't understand. I think whatever people had an issue with Andy Howe, it's all coming out. No matter how many times you say what the facts are, how many times journalists are saying what the facts are, they're going to come back to Eddie Howe. How Cross says Andy Howe was stepping sporting director because why was Andy Howe the stepping sporting director at How Out Crew? Because our actual sporting director did a runner. No other club had their sporting director leave 24 hours before the transfer window opened. No other club had to call their manager back from holiday with their family to run an entire transfer window. Only Newcastle United did that. And now he's the assistant sporting director because he has given him an undeserved promotion. All Andy Howe does is ID players, and he's done fantastically well. He's given you Tonali, he's given you Bruno, and he would have given you Viktor Munoz if Liverpool had not stepped in. Okay, I'm going to keep saying a couple more. I'm going to read these couple more, but I'm going to move on. Pete Actual says, I disagree. We did not show enough commitment to make Munoz believe we really wanted him. But he signed the personal agreement. He signed it. So he clearly believed in it, and a medical was booked. When they asked for the 24 hours, we should have been stronger and said no, deal or no deal, and walked away. It didn't matter. What would that achieve? We'd still not get the player. Liverpool would have still got him. Would still be left. The result is the same, Pete. We don't have the player. What would have? What in that kind of scenario? We're saying deal or no deal, and walked away. We don't get the medical is booked. The medical is booked. We just say we want you to do the medical now. I'm not doing it now. You can walk away if you want, because I'm talking to Liverpool, and they're very interested. So in that scenario, we still don't have him. How about Cruz says, because Eddie Howe made Mitchell want to leave. Oh, yeah. What did he do to make him want to leave? Like Eddie Howe was on holiday. Literally, he was on holiday. Um, and now he's made Nixon leave. I think you're having me on, Howard Crew. You've got to be having me on. You've got to be having me on at this case. I don't know what else to say. If it rains on Tyneside, it's Eddie Howe's problem. Wobblejog said, Phil, I feel for you, my guy. Fighting narratives drives me into madness. Honestly. I, and the thing is, when I get told I'm not with the facts, and we just spent like 30, 40 minutes reading Ben Jacobs, reading a couple of other sources. Fabrizio, if you don't believe me, just go on Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano, Keith Downey, Craig Hope, or whoever your guys are, and they'll give. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Right, so forwards, we've still got a gap. Obviously, not Andy Howe. I've got Andy Howe on the brain now. Gordon's been sold. Midfield looks like Tonali is going to go as well. Willock, I think, is on the way. Our defense is in a very curious position. I have to return Tino Livramento to this because I really thought it was going to go. But this injury is going to make things very, very interesting. I've got him off the market for now because I just don't foresee, unless a team is really believing in Tino. A, obviously his talent is his talent, but B, they believe that he's going to get over this injury. They can still buy him over the injury. I think that's an incredible risk, but you just never know. So for now, I think by next year I'll have him back. But we are looking for this is one fullback. I think there might be a bit more. And obviously, we've still got Hall. Our centre backs are pretty safe. Our goalkeeping situation is very interesting because by June the 30th, Pope could very much leave, and Newcastle are very open to him leaving. He might be going to Ipswich and other places there. And I think from the soundings is they're pretty much saying he's going to go without saying he's going to go. In which case, Newcastle don't have a goalkeeper unless you guys count Gillespie. I don't count Gillespie. So our forward line. So wingers. Let's talk about some wingers. Well, we've got about 20 minutes or so left. Was there anything else I wanted to talk with you guys about? We're not going to get a chance to talk about Doué. Which wingers are we going to look at, guys? Which wingers are we going to look at? Let's go on to transfer feed. I was going to look at Matheus Mane. He's not all-out winger. He's a central left wing forward attacking mid who can play left wing. But Newcastle have been rumored to be looking for him again. If I don't see a left wing I want to look at, so let's look at transfer feed because it does. What's good about transfer feed is that it kind of keeps it in order about the players the club's been looking for. I don't think they get every single player. It's very hard to do that. Interesting, we've got a link to Yasin Ayari. It's not very strong though. So forwards, Mateta, Munoz obviously is off the table. Christos Tzolis, I think he's going to Arsenal, isn't it? Wobajog. I don't know much about him. I'm a little bit hesitant. Martinelli, Wobajog will be happy about this. Martinelli is linked to Newcastle. Newcastle has considered Gabriel Martinelli as an option for some time. According to sources, conversations have already taken place between Newcastle and Arsenal for the purpose of gathering information on Martinelli availability. Newcastle has asked Arsenal about Martinelli and is keen to gather information about the Brazilian potential cost. There is a perception that Martinelli could be cheaper. The situation is advanced and Newcastle will not rush the process. Okay. Because Wobojog is here and he's been selling us Martinelli consistently and without and relentlessly and without any reservation. Let's have a brief look at Martinelli. I want to first see if there's any other sources close to him. Let me know what you guys in the chat think about Martinelli. I do think he's a good player, but I need to remind myself a little bit about him, why I like him. Let me see transfer links to Newcastle. I want to show you guys if I get anything. Because if it says to me there's no links apart from what it said there, then okay. So Newcastle United is team talk though. I can't complain. Okay, let me look at this. If I find something interesting, Newcastle United have formally inquired about Gabriel Martinelli availability. Media outlets like Team Talk saying this, and some Arsenal websites are saying this. They've already got him in a Newcastle kit. That's how much you guys want. From when from when an Arsenal fan channel, let me show you guys this. I'm sure not Martinelli. I'm sure Wobojog will know this site. But from when an Arsenal, when your own, this is Fan Arsenal TV. Fan Arsenal TV. Let me know, Wobojog, if you know them. They got 45,000 followers. I'll give them a follow too. Your own fan channels have got their own player in the opposition strip. That's crazy work. So they're saying Newcastle United have long viewed Gabriel Martinelli as a potential target. Conversations they got it from Transfer Feed as well. They got it from the same source. Conversations have taken place with Arsenal to gauge the Brazilian's availability. With the perception he could represent value. The situation remains early and Newcastle have no plans. I need a little bit more. Before I go into it. This is the process I go through, guys, before I get a player. Let me know what you guys are saying. Morbitrox said, Phil, Martinelli is a great option for you, my good friend. 50% discount, 60 million. Oh, 60 million? You got to be kidding me. Well, no, you can't be kidding me. This is the window. Jan Diamande could be going to Liverpool for 120 million. So I should be quiet. Trust me, special offer just for you. Probably is a special offer in this market. It probably is. James, you're not liking it. You're not liking the Martinelli option. Let me just double check myself before just a little bit more. Man United. That's not available to me. I can't see anything more definitive, Wobojog, in terms of linking us to Martinelli, but that might actually be a good thing. Okay, so Wobojog, walk us through it, because I'm gonna. If you're here for a minute, let me know. Let me put the stats up, Wobojog, because you can add some. You can definitely add some substance to this, because what I'm keen to know, Wobojog, is when I say how Arsenal play, you don't have to give me the whole break. Well, what is Martinelli's current role at Arsenal, and What was his role when he was scoring 15 goals in a season? Because there's been a dramatic shift. In fact, if I look at his metrics there, because Robojog and any other Arsenal fans that are here, Martinelli, right? Can you guys see that? Okay, let's find ourselves Martinelli. You guys, I was going to talk about Doué today, but it doesn't make sense when Munoz. I've got some good stuff on Doué though. I like him. Martinelli. Here we go. Okay, so Martinelli. Contract ends in 2027. Oh, what? Is that correct? Robojog. His contract ends in 2027. Yo, 25 years old. Bro, today's his birthday, Robojog. You're trying to sell him. Martinelli turns 25 today, 18th of June. And Robojog's on his channel trying to sell him to the opposition. Arsenal fan channels, I've got him in Newcastle kit. You guys aren't exactly trying to keep this guy. 180 centimeters tall. So he's about 6'1". His contract runs out next season. Arsenal, man, you might have treated him bad. Robojog, how has Martinelli's role changed? That he went from. He had a decent season this season, Robojog. He's got 25-26 this season. Played 53 games. 53 games. Played two. Well, no, he didn't play 53 games. He wasn't. He played in. He was involved in 53 games. He played 2,000 minutes. Just 2,000 plus minutes, which probably means that he's a subs most of the time. He's got 11 goals, 7 assists, 18 goal contributions. It's a good return. 6 in the Champions League. Nowadays, people don't count goals in the Champions League. Oh, there's the problem. He had a Gordon type season, except we had 1 goal in the Premier League with 4 assists. But to be honest, though, and if I'm sure you're fair, Robojog, he's got 5 goal contributions in the Premier League, but he's played 1,000 plus minutes. You guys did it. You guys, how many times did he come off the bench? 4 goals in the FA Cup and 1 assist. I feel like he's scoring goals and assists in proportion or in the ratio, in a good ratio with the minutes that he's getting, Robojog. Last year he played more minutes, 3,500 minutes. He got 10 goals, 5 assists. So he had 15 goals contribution. So even though he played more minutes yet last season. In fact, what's this in proportion? In proportion this season, he's played 45 minutes roughly per game. 0.4 goals, which is good, 40% chance. 0.3 assists, which is good. Last year, there was 0.3, 0.1 goal contribution, 0.3, 0.2. In the season before that, when he did really, really well, 0.4, 0.2. 23-24 season, 13 goal contributions there. 6 in the Premier League. What is going on, Robojog? Why don't you guys play? But in his best season so far, 22-23 season, where he played 36 games, 2,800 minutes, no, 3,400 minutes, excuse me. 21 goal contribution, 15 goals in the Premier League with 5 assists. What happened from 22-23 to 23-24 season? That's what I'm interested in. Let's have a quick look on his heat map before we what is this? Champions League. In fact, let me look at his heat map. Oh, it doesn't go to the 22-23 season where he scored 15 goals. So very much on that left wing, but too much on that left wing. He's got some heat map in the penalty box, but not enough for me. I'd love to know what his heat map was. Oh, that's Champions League, excuse me. Premier League. Oh, you guys are doing him dirty, Robojog. He's got some heat patches here in the box, but not enough. You got him way outside the box here. That's the main red hot areas here. There's a little bit here on the literally on the side of the goal for the cutbacks, but not enough for him to be effective. Why did you guys do him like that? What's going on, Wilbur? What's changed here? You do have 22-23 season. 22-23 season, right? Now, Wilbur, Arsenal fans. So this is the heat map when Mr. Martinelli got 15 goals in the Premier League, 21 goal contributions. Now, this is the man. There's something changed here, Wilbur, between this heat map, between this season, and the following seasons in his role and his functionality. Because how he's gone from literally no heat map in the penalty box to red hot chili pepper in the penalty box and in the right areas and angles, as well as in the dangerous half spaces here. What happened here? What happened from here to the following seasons? Look at this heat map. Red hot, fantastic. No wonder he got goals. Then the following season, not too bad, to be honest. 23-24, he's still there. But obviously the goal contribution's a little bit less. 24-25, jeez, it's getting worse and worse and worse for Budjog. And then 25-26, what happened? What has changed? That's what I want to know. Let me see if you guys are saying anything. And then we'll look at his metrics. I did not have Martinelli on my bingo card today. James says, Wilbur, he has a mind-blowing injury list. Also, his performance this season has been beyond disappointing. Okay, so the injury is not good. So no, thank you. Do you want a half price it? Let me look at his, let's look at his, this is not Martinelli's injury list. This is Doué's, which is very good, very healthy, actually. Let's look at Martinelli's injury list. What has happened, Wilbur? What did Arsenal do to you, Martinelli? And does Dr. Newcastle need to solve it? Because we're known for, bringing players back from the dead. Just ask Joe Linton. Ask Murphy. Injury list. Jeez Louise. James was right. From 1920 season, hamstring, knock, knee injury, ankle injury, ankle injury, hamstring again. Ooh, so he's had a recurrent hamstring injury. So the first hamstring injury, he missed 3 games. The second hamstring injury, he missed 5 games. The third hamstring injury, he's missed 4 games. And he had a groin issue. He's also got an ankle injury problem because that first ankle injury is 2 games. The second ankle injury missed 2 games. So it's not too bad, but it's there. The biggest injury was his knee injury in 2020 season where he missed 35 games. That was crazy. But it doesn't look like it's been reoccurring. Robojog, let us know what's going on. Let us know what's going on with your man. What changed for this guy? Let me put Martinelli on here. And I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Would you go for Martinelli? So this is Martinelli in the 25-26 season. Martinelli 24-25 season. Martinelli, where is it? Martinelli 23-24 season. Okay, here we go. And then we got Martinelli in his best season, which was it 22-23 season? What was the best season again? What was his best season again under Arsenal? 15 goals, 22-23 season. 22-23 season. So we've got 20 when he was 21 years old in the yellow. Man, these stats look good though. He's fallen off, but his stats look good. Non-penalty goals, assists, non-penalty goals, dribbles is really good. Very consistent as well. Obviously, this year has been a big drop off, but it's been very consistent in the other years. Ball carrying supreme, very very good. Consistent again. You can see it right in the elite levels here. Consistent, fairly consistent with the crosses, a little bit less than the others. Key passes, fairly consistent there as well. What do you guys think? I think this is impressive, by the way. His overall stats, but he plays for an impressive team. Let me see what you guys are saying. Robert Field, they are calling epilepsy. They are calling epilepsy Sambo. You'll get it if you see him trying to dribble in the Champions League. Strip shirt by any Arsenal fan is the least crazy thing. Jeez, you're not filling me with confidence here, Wobblejog. Adrian says, part of me would like to see Martinelli repurposed, restored as a striker. Me too. But it's probably too late for the lads. Is it too late? It's just 10:25 today. James says nearly 2 years worth of injuries just in the Arsenal alone. That is true. James says in 4 seasons he's had 5 injuries that were not serious. Wilbur says, honest opinion, Martinelli was one of my favorite players. I expected him to grow his game post 22-23 season. He's a great finisher, especially when he runs centrally. I think that's where we should look at him. Wilbur says, but then the following seasons, clubs changed how they defend us, and he couldn't adapt because he didn't develop his game further while Saka did. Okay. Wilbur says, in my opinion, and I said before, I view him and Gordon very similarly in terms of profile strengths and weaknesses. Additionally, Arteta doesn't platform him to his strengths because he wants him to stretch the pitch. Yeah, we have to do that with Barnes. It's not a good look. Martinelli. Wobblejog says Martinelli is generally robust. He had a single major injury, if I recall correctly, and don't think he suffers any chronic injuries that keep coming back. Well, the knee and the hamstring injuries do come back. I would say that. But I think his stats are very, very impressive, guys, in my opinion. So if you look at, so this is over the 4-year period, right? If I start off with his most impressive stats, which is dribbles and, well, actually non-penalty goals and assists, dribbles and carrying. So non-penalty goals and assists, they're all very, very high, 80 percentiles or to 90 percentiles. The lowest is 83 percentile to 91 percentile. So that's over 3 seasons. That's really, really good, in my opinion. Then dribbles is the next one. Yeah, so 70 percentile 21 when he was 20. So starting from the bottom, 21 season, 70 percentile, then 89 percentile, 82 percentile. This season it dropped off hugely. But he was used even less by Arteta. Crosses, fairly good. He's had 2 seasons where he's at 23, when he was 22, 23, where he had 90 plus percentile. Lowest is 65 percentile, 71 percentile when he was 21. He's got higher stats than anyone in our team. But again, he plays for a very, very good team. And then ball carrying, which is really good. So ball carrying, if you look at it, is where is it? Where's the carrying? Oh, progressive carrying. Here we go. Yeah, so 79 percentile, 89 percentile, 81 percentile. And again, this is where the biggest drop off has been, 41 percentile. 60 million. Let's look at Capology. And then, guys, I want to hear in the chat, who's going for Martinelli? I can feel myself being swayed. 2021, excuse me. 27, excuse me. 2027 is, he's in the final year. I don't think you're going to get 60 million though, Wobblejog. He's got 1 year left. 30 million? There's the problem. Drew said this is capology, but you let me know what's his wages, because it says 225 including bonuses here. I don't think we can afford to pay him that. I don't think we'll pay him that. I don't think we'll pay him that. So if he can either keep the same wage, you sell him for 30, 40 million, I might be swayed. Let me know what you guys think. I did not think that we're going to go for Martinelli today, but it looks like we are. Gaz says Martinelli is terrible. People aren't buying into him. James says you can say that it hasn't suffered the chronic injury, but I feel there's better options for cheaper price. But do they have the same record in the Premier League? I don't know. Warburg says, Phil, what we get with Martinelli is someone with good finishing, disciplined offensively. You mean defensively or offensively? And especially defensively. Okay, both, yeah. When I see him, I remember McTominay of you know what I mean. I do. In fact, let's look at some highlights of him, of Mr. Martinelli, before we lock off. Oh, sugar, that's me. That's scary. That is scary. Hope I won't copyright myself. That'd be crazy. Give myself a copyright strike. That'd be mad. Share this tab instead. Here we go. Hold on. Hold on. Bid submitted. Hey, what's happened here? Who's this? It's the Gunnar. I like the Gunnar. I'll submit Mongo Deal Martinelli to Newcastle. Is this gathering pace? Am I missing something? Let me know in the chat, guys. I want to see his 22-23 season. What season should I look at, Jog, for the highlights? I look at the 22-23 season. I'm tempted to look at the 22-23 season. But if I'm looking at him, it's better. Well, highlights are highlights. You're always going to get the best. But even the Lugano is talking about Martinelli possibly going to Newcastle. If I had a little bit more time, I'd probably Gabriel the dribbling masterclass. Dribbling, but his stats in dribbling is very. Oof, sorry about that. Let me see the dribbling masterclass. How about that? Let me know, Wobo Jog, what I should be looking at. And guys, for those of you that are still here, God bless you. And thank you for the likes, shares, and subscribes. I was just definitely look at the 22-23 season or his Champions League highlights. No, I don't think he's worth 60 million, but also 30 million is crazy. You are in a market where Gordon is 80 million. But Gordon had like 3-4 years left on his contract. Your guy's got a year left. A year? Okay, let's look at his 22-23 season. Let's look at his 22-23 season. Let's look at him at his best. Martinelli can't stop scoring. Martinelli season review. Insane skills, goals, and assists in HD as well. Let's have a look. All right, so let's have a look. So you do have him obviously by the touchline there in these cases as well. And it's those, you see those type of turns there, or read that challenge really well. Oh, okay, got fouled. Yeah, this is the offensive part. His pace is really good though. That's the ball carrying that we were talking about as well. Good pressure. He had a fantastic season then as well. You know the highlights got him on the really literally on the flank there. Again, good skill, good strength. A lot of this is what the heat map was showing, those cutbacks as well. Good dribbling. Unlucky there. This is against us. Just kept it in as well in their situation. What I like about is good strength, really robust there. So we're looking at him literally at his best in his best season, but showing good agility and like is it wiry strength people talk about? With his right foot as well, coming off the left in the central areas as well again. Why did Arteta put him on the flank like that? Arteta did him dirty, man. He's good at that stop start as well when he gets really going. Again, good strength. How tall is he? Looks about 6 foot, 6'1". Ooh. And then you've got the reverse ball as well. Good movement. Can he get the goal? Oh, unlucky. Okay, great close control. If you guys are looking to break down low blocks, what didn't he adjust in his game, Wilbur? That's what I'd be curious to know. Oof, lovely. Turns, unlucky. I think Eddie Howe would buy him to be a striker. Do you think he'd be a good target man, Wilbur? I don't know much about his hold-up play. I'll be keen to know. All right. He said, tears in my eyes, man. Look at how teams used to defend us and give us all the space to run in behind and transition. Truly the good old days. Oh, gosh. I agree. I absolutely agree. Uh, so Martinelli doesn't fit the boat. James says, I think it fits more to be a striker than a winger. I agree, James, excuse me. If Robojob convinces me that he'd be a good target man, that he can hold the ball up, this is the part I want to see. I wonder if this highlights will show that. Let me play a minute or more. Because I want to just see if there's going to be any highlights of him picking up the ball. Because there's a lot of dribbling, which is good. You want to be able to do that. Oh, lovely pace there. Yeah, they gave you tons of pace. They did not respect you, did they? Times have changed, man. Times have changed. He was enjoying life. Good pressing, back to goal. I want to see some back to goals. Picks it up, strength. Again in the central areas. Just love this. Not bad. Okay. Okay. That was an example there, not too bad. All right. So let me know, guys, what you think about Martinelli. I don't think it's too bad. Adrian says, let's get him and play him in the front too. I think so. I think that'd be a good call. I wouldn't be against it if he's up for it. But we're not paying 60 million for a guy that's got a year left. 30 to 40 million. And I wouldn't be upset by that. I would not be upset. All right, guys. We've had a very interesting show. A bit free flowy today. I was going to do a scouting report on, I think, Gabriel Doué, the brother of what's first name, but Doué as well, the one that plays for PSG. But it didn't make sense to talk about a defender in the period of time when all we can talk about is the forward situation. But we got onto Martinelli, and I think it's really, really interesting player. Robojog says, I think, and I could be wrong, but he'd be better than Wissa. He's younger, better finisher, faster, better movement centrally. I agree. I'll give Wissa. if he's better than Wissa, essentially, I don't think it's by much. Well, it might be. It depends, actually. James says I forgot what TC means, Phil. Oh, take care, Phil. Oh, yeah. Reminder, what's up, by the way? Thank you, sir. Yes, we are going to get that. We're absolutely going to get that. Warburg says, I think realistically he'll be good for 40, 45 million max. Unrealistic, expecting more. My friend, you've got a year left on his contract. Warburg, a year left. You guys are the worst sellers ever. All right. Guys, we've had a phenomenal show. We had a lot of conversation about Mr. Munoz, a lot of feedback on how that deal went down or didn't go down, that Liverpool taken him. You guys know my view. I basically think we did all we can for him, and just a bigger club with more wages and bigger reputation came in and snapped him up, and they've been working on it for a while. Unfortunately, hopefully, Robert will chime out right back. Hopefully, we return fire and bring in a forward worthy of the Newcastle name real soon. A lot of narratives planned about Newcastle. Look, for me, you guys know my take. I think this is we're treating it very, very differently. Yes, we're getting some of the same results in some cases, but if you break down how we're doing our recruitment, it's very, very different, in my opinion. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something. Yeah, and just to note, there's going to be a lot of anxiety, and I understand from fans online and offline. But as been pointed out, and thank you for the feedback, guys, we've been preparing. We've been preparing for this transfer market since January. You've seen endless slides, time and time again, strategy, operations, everything. I did it for me just as much as I did it for you guys because the last window was so wild. So I personally feel better prepared. Gordon leaving, Tonali leaving, whoever else. Yes, as players, all of them, none of them I want to leave. I'm not saying, I don't care who leaves, but I just feel better ready for it. I think the club are better ready for it. I think good times around the corner, hopefully. And I gave the floor to you in terms of our scouting report. And we've got our good man, Wilbur Jog, who pointed out Martinelli. I enjoyed looking at Martinelli, actually. Very interesting metrics, very consistent metrics if you look at progressive carries, dribbles, non-penalty goals and assist goals as well. Strikes me as a man for Newcastle. He would definitely want to put him centrally. At two up top, him and Osola could be absolutely reckless, or interesting to play, or maybe him and Voltemada. Interesting, but for 40 million for sure. But as always, folks, yourselves have been amazing. We've been going back and forth. As always, the chat's ringing off, and you guys make the show what it is. I look forward to catching you guys. It won't be next week Tuesday because England are playing. It might be a Monday, and we'll have our good friend. Possibly we'll have our good friend Mitch with us as well. But until then, as always, folks, make sure you look after each other. And as always, God bless you all.